Glenn Greenwald did an interview with Activism Munich, and he made a great point here about Donald Trump's presidency. Let's watch and then we'll discuss.
There's this perception about Trump that he's a madman. He's unorthodox, he's breaking from conventional American politics, and he's not following in many issues the same line as his predecessors. So what is your take? Is Donald Trump breaking from orthodoxy? Is he a continuation, or is he a mixed bag?
I think it's important to separate the stylistic or rhetorical analysis with regard to that question from the substantive and policy analysis. So obviously, as a matter of personality, as a matter of rhetoric, and as a matter of style, Trump is something unlike we've seen before in terms of somebody occupying the Oval Office and being the representative of this vast power that the United States continues to wield in the world, the way he speaks, the things he says, his refusal to abide by protocols and conventions. But if you actually look at the policies that he has overseen and implemented, and even the way in which he defends those policies, I think that it's far more a continuation and a byproduct of American political culture than something unrecognizable or aberrational. There's a lot of people who want to pretend that what he's doing is some kind of radical break from the American tradition because they're embarrassed, because his rhetorical newness does sort of take the mask off of the face of what the reality of the United States and the world is. And so they want to pretend that this is something all new. And I remember when Trump had General Sisi of Egypt to the White House, the American media decided to pretend that this was something brand new that we had never seen before, an American president embracing a tyrant. And of course, American presidents have embraced tyrants. It's been central to American foreign policy for decades. And I think you see that over and over. There's a lot of pretense that what Trump is new, but the reality is he's far more a continuation than a deviation from American political history.
Okay, he explained that in the perfect way, and it made me realize exactly what it is that frustrates me so much about the current debate in the country. So the left, and when I say the left, I just mean people who are nominally on the left, so including your run-of-the-mill Democrats, your average Joe Democrat, your corporate Democrat, your establishment Democrat. They like to say that Donald Trump is an aberration. They like to say that he's not like any other president we've had. And when they say that, they mean it obviously in a bad way, like, oh, he's a negative aberration. So something that's not what we're used to in a bad way. And then there are many people on the right who think, well, he's an aberration, that's right, but in a good way. So he's unlike anything we've ever had, but they like it, MAGA, make America great again, and all that nonsense. Although I think that number is dwindling because when people come to terms with what he really does. But, so you have corporate Democrats saying he's an aberration in a bad way, the MAGA crowd saying, no, you're right that he's an aberration, but it's in a good way. And what Glenn Greenwald is saying there is actually, no, you're both wrong. When you look at what actually matters, which is the policies, like that's, at the end of the day, that's what politics comes down to. What policies are you implementing? Because all the talk is nonsense. That's just rhetoric. That's just he said, she said nonsense. That all goes away into the ether, into the abyss of history. What matters is, what are you actually implementing that affects people's lives when it comes to the brass tacks at the policy level? And what Glenn Greenwald is saying is, no, he actually is the ultimate establishment president. And that crystallizes it in a way that makes me realize why I've been so frustrated, is that corporate Democrats say he's an aberration in a bad way. That's just not true. He's exactly like George W. Bush, for example, on policy. In many ways, Obama was more similar to them than a lot of people would like to admit. There are areas where Obama was better, but on the whole, there's way too much agreement between all these presidents. So he's not an aberration in a bad way. He's the ultimate establishment president. To the MAGA people, he's not an aberration in a good way. He's the ultimate establishment president. The only difference is he does mean tweets. So he has this unhinged, raw, if you want to put a positive spin on it, unfiltered appeal to him in that he's like, nobody controls me, I say what I want, and I do what I want. Here's some tweets of me acting unhinged. And some people hate that. Some people love that. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything. That's just the presentation to the public, which all comes to nothing. But when you actually look at what's happening, it is the status quo through and through. Donald Trump passed massive tax cuts for the rich. That's certainly pro-establishment. He did deregulation through executive orders. That's certainly pro-establishment. He embraces free market healthcare. There's nothing more American than that. Even Obamacare is a free market solution, but there are tweaks, and there's regulation, and there's the individual mandate. Trump is embracing free market healthcare, where it's more of a right-wing version, where 4 million people have lost their health insurance under his administration. That is massively pro-establishment. Trump is bombing 8 different countries and doing endless war. Just bombed the Syrian government twice. That is totally pro-establishment. Trump is bragging about torture. That is totally pro-establishment. It's been pro-establishment from the Bush years and onwards. So that's what it is that's been annoying me, is that I don't agree with either side here, because the corporate Democrats are like, we've never seen anything like this. We see shit like this all the time. It's just we don't see the mean tweets. And the right is like, oh, he's so anti-establishment. No, he's not. On the campaign trail, some of the rhetoric was anti-establishment. The policies have been totally pro-establishment and not for the little guy. So if you're a little guy and you think he's on your side, bitch, wake up. He's not on your side. All the policies demonstrate that. So Glenn Greenwald really nailed it here, and he really put it in a way that made it click in my mind and made me realize why I've been so upset at everybody in the modern political context. And that was just a fantastic point.